Good morning. Welcome to Cosmic Compass Conversation. It is March 2025. Amazing how that happened so quickly. So today we will, as always, begin with some breathing because groundedness, centeredness, connectedness is absolutely vital right now and for what's ahead. So let's just start together. And again, you join me as much as you wish. I'm going to close my eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, but I am going to close mine. So bring yourself to yourself. Take a moment to really feel where you are, points of contact, whether you're sitting or standing or lying down, even, and just being present with where you are today. And from that place, taking a breath and breathing into your belly. And when you're ready, exhaling. And breathing in and exhaling when you're ready. We'll take another breath, feeling the earth beneath us, honoring all those who have come before. As you breathe in, expand your belly. And take your time when you're ready, exhaling. And this last inhale, again, breathing in from that centered, grounded place of the earth, expanding your belly. And when you're ready, just letting things drop away so you can be present here, now, today, in this moment. And welcome so much to this day. We're very happy that you're here. And per usual, we will be pulling some cards from the Light Seers Tarot, and then we'll be welcoming our wonderful guest. I think the one astrology thing I want to talk about today, it'll be brief, is just a reminder of Venus retrograde, which happened over the weekend. So a Venus retrograde is actually, it is a very interesting retrograde, and it allows us, I think, to, again, revisit, refresh, renew, review. There's so many different areas, but one of the areas is like, what are we passionate about or what do we love? And certainly with Mars where it is right now and all that's happening there, I think really looking at, where we have our energy and what we love and who we love. And absolutely making sure we um, be in our love. How's that sound? Be in our love. One thing that often happens during a Venus retrograde is that people can show up from our past. Okay, these can be it can be friends or people you were more than friends with, but they tend to show up during this time, and sometimes friendships that have maybe gone a different path, you might review them and you might just be like, okay, where am I with that connection? So that's a great activity to engage in during Venus retrograde. And sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes it just shows up. I mean, you always have a choice, but sometimes it just shows up. The other thing though is to look inward and to ask yourself where you feel connected to yourself, to your love of self, to your self-value, to your self-confidence. There's other traditional meanings of a Venus retrograde that look at money. I think, at least for today, I just prefer for us to stay in that looking at the connections within ourselves and how we value ourselves, how we love ourselves. And I always say this during Venus retrograde, how can I create more opportunities for self-love, during this time. And then beyond that, like, don't just stop after it stops retrograding. So connecting with yourself in a loving way. Okay, so that's something to think about for sure. All right, so now we're going to pull some cards on that note. I've been shuffling this whole time. I promise you, I have been shuffling. So if the same cards keep coming up, we know that we have to pay attention to them. Okay. And these are collective, deepening into the collective field of energy. Oh, okay. I'm kind of liking this sweetness. Roses and a horse. And again, put yourself in the card, create your own narrative. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you notice? Right? And just be present with what you're seeing there. And again, remembering cups is a water element and the emotions, right? And I'll move my finger so you can see more on the bottom there. Okay. So again, what do you notice? What do you feel? What do you sense? What story is coming to you? And it's all good because we want every card to speak to you through your intuition. So focusing in, deepening in, just deepening in. Okay. Collective field of energy, all of us beyond. Second card. It's very interesting. I think we've had this one recently, actually, but it never hurts to get it again. Seven of Pentacles. So again, what do you notice? What do you feel? What do you sense? There's a lot going on there. Pentacles is the earth element, the material realm. I think this one's fairly straightforward. But again, what is your story? Your story is what matters here. It's really deepening into what you feel with this today. Okay. And then the last card for our collective field of energy. Oh, these are fun cards. Not that they're not all fun, but I always like seeing some new ones. Queen of Cups. Again, interesting imagery. The cups are emotions, water. And what do you notice? What do you feel? What do you sense? If words pop into your head or images, even songs sometimes do that. They'll give you information. So that builds on that one. And actually, again, there's not a particular order, but I do see that there is a relationship with them all. And again, you can make up a story. It's just, tarot is highly intuitive. And I love that there are meanings to everything, but it is a wonderful way to develop your intuition, because when you deepen into these and you're listening to your heart, to your intuitive self, to your higher guidance, that muscle gets stronger and the portal gets wider. And so more information can come through. So this is why we do this. It's just, A, it's very intriguing. And B, it's a really good developmental exercise for all of us. So, but I'm not going to interpret them right now. You get to do that for yourself. All right, but I am going to introduce our wonderful guest. Let me bring her in. I'd like all of you to welcome Kim Taylor. Kim, thank you so much for being with us today. Yay. Kim is Kim is the creator of the Joy Pathway. And I met Kim, gosh, I don't know how long it's been now. A couple of years. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah,
And
it's been going on.
Yeah, right. It's the time moves slowly and quickly all at once.
Mhm.
So Kim is here because I am delighted to tell you that joy can be a part of your life no matter what is going on. And Kim is one being in my life who has shown that to me over and over. Um, so Kim, one of the things I noticed in your bio, is that your extended bio was that
Yeah.
you were always a very happy child and that you really enjoyed, particularly the thing that stood out to me was how excited and happy you were to muck stalls as a child. So we're gonna talk about that because sometimes I feel like that's life, right? Right in there is a little
Cleaning the muck
cornerstone.
out of my life,
Yeah,
literally.
right,
It
right.
was,
But now, in addition to mucking stalls, Kim, how would you like to introduce your work to all of us?
well, thank you. This has been a long time coming. She has asked me for quite a while to join everyone here. I've been here in the past, just as you all have been participating. And she says, I want you to come and be a guest here. I said, okay, I'll get there. I'm coming. I'm coming. And at some point, you just have to say, okay, let's do it. Let's just put this together. And that is partially what is going on here, although there is an evolution to this, of course. So, where to start? I will just give you a quick little bio of who I am, but I basically am a collection of life in terms of how we are learning to navigate this, because that's all we're doing here is trying to figure out the next step along the way. So I'm 56 years old. I live in Newberg, Oregon. So I'm north of Denise by about, what, 4 or 5 hours or so?
Yeah.
Yes. And I've lived basically in Oregon my whole life, except for when I was 2. I was in Georgia, babysat by a very southern babysitter. So sometimes people tell me they hear a little something in my voice, and I say, yep, that's that babysitter when my language skills were developing. So that left that into my body at that time. So I became a school teacher to start with, just like Denise did. I taught middle school math, seventh graders, and not even just math. I taught low level math. So I got all the ones who didn't want to be there into that classroom. So I got to learn very early on how to navigate people, little peoples who were not interested in being with me at all for any reason. So, but I saw it as a challenge. Today, I live on a 5-acre farm with my husband, who is 71 years old. So he's 14 and a half years older than I am. And we have been here on this 5 little acre farm since we moved out here in 2010. And we did this because of my childhood dream
Mhm.
of being with ponies and horses. And so at some point, we came out here, and having a background, of course, in teaching school, but then eventually I evolved into business, which is
Yeah.
where I'm at now. But when I came out here, I said, oh, perfect. I'll just start a little pony business for kids because I know kids and I want to do something with ponies. So there's my excuse to have more than one. And so we navigated those waters and put together over the course, and we offered for 12 years from 2012 to 2014, just this last year.
With
uh,
2024.
2024,
Yes.
sorry, 2000. Thank you. You're good.
Yes, no
You're good.
problem.
You guys come with me everywhere. So,
Yeah.
but 2012 to 2024, there you go. For 12 years, we offered a business called Oregon Dream Ponies, where we shared our love of ponies and horses. And I basically created a pony ride experience for children 2 to 8 years old, a dream experience so they could get up close and personal. Married my skills of being able to work with children with the ponies and connecting with them to have these children have an extraordinary first experience on a pony. And we did pony parties and we did some other auxiliary things that included the ponies, but that was 12 years of our life here.
Wow.
Ponies got older and
Yeah.
my husband got older. You see, so he got to be 70 and we needed to navigate a new normal in terms of
Mm.
what this was life was going to be. Because I think one of the things that Denise, you're so good at sharing is how life changes.
Yeah.
And it's in our ability to develop those intuitive skills, like we are practicing here with those tarot cards, to look inward and find our north or south or east or west or any of those things at any moment, right?
Yeah, right.
And so we needed to do something differently because not only was my husband getting older, those ponies were getting older, and they were giving signs. They're my friends, they're my
Mm,
roommates,
mm.
and they were getting tired of giving. They were getting older, and they didn't want to do it anymore. To give the rides to the kids. It was
Yeah.
just they were
Forget.
older. It's
Yeah.
okay. And so I said, okay, fine, we can pivot. And so I pivoted from the pony business into the joy pathway, which is the business that Denise is so wonderfully allowing me to share with you here
Oh,
today.
yes.
And all it's a very simple business with a lot of different components to, but basically bringing us all together in spaces to share and support one another to navigate life and create and try different tools and strategies along the way. So there's the popular ones in there, of course. I love meditation. Uh, I love sharing my ponies because they're beautiful mirrors to people. So I call them my heart horses, and whether they're big or little. So we have some experiences that will be coming up in the nicer weather
Oh,
to
good.
share with them 1 day and 2.5 day little retreats here at this very darling little place and I'm just surrounded by vineyards everywhere. They tried to get me to put in wine grapes years ago when we moved in 2010. And they said, well, you can make this money and you put this in and do this. And I said, I don't know. I just not that much into that. I'm into ponies. And so I really literally, if you were to drive by our cute little 5 acres, you would see us surrounded by wine grapes
Sounds
and or hazelnuts. Hazelnuts, filberts are
yeah.
the other popular thing in this area.
Interesting.
So here we are in this space that I want to share with people to come and visit near and far. But in the interim, of course, I'll be putting together some things online. So I'm going to jump back to the tools.
Okay, jump back to the tools.
Exploring different tools. I mentioned meditation. I mentioned the heart horses and such. One of my things I knew I needed to learn how to do was to talk on these platforms. You know, all these different social media platforms. What's a reel? What's a post? All these things, right? I have no idea why I landed on this, but I decided 94 days ago that I would start cold plunging every day and I would record it as my process to share with everybody. Now, about day 30, I was rethinking this idea. It's just like, what? Who came up with that idea? That was dumb.
Yeah. Whose intuition said that? Yeah.
That would be my little 5-year-old self, saying, "It ain't any fun anymore." And so with the support of my husband, who has been filming these for me for the most part, I have gotten in temperature water from anywhere from 55 all the way down to 33 degrees for 3 to 12 minutes almost every single day in the last 94 days.
Amazing.
And about 5 days ago, I realized that my first event that I'm offering this coming Saturday,
Yeah.
a little 3-hour online event, coincides with the 100th day. How'd that happen? That's so weird. Anyway, so I'm like, that is, I mean, if I miss a day, then it'll be off, but I don't think I will.
You won't now.
I guess not.
You're
But
motivated now.
I know, I'm at 94,
Yeah, right. How can you stop now? Yeah.
I know. And I have over the time, what's interesting is I don't show up with notes or anything. I'm just like, okay, I'm gotta get in this water. And then I just randomly talk about things. And
While
it's
she's in the
evolved.
water, mind you.
Well, yeah, while I'm in the water, yes, up to my neck, submerged in this cold water. There were 3 or 4 days, when we had the ice storm in our area
Yes.
a week
Yeah.
or so or two
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
I left the lid off purposely because I'm like, okay, well, let's see what it's like to break through ice to get in. And I hadn't done that. So each of this I've been trying to navigate and explore and being a model. I am not interested in standing on a pulpit of sorts and talking about, well, this is the theoretical way of doing things. Nope, I am every day in the practical, in the real life moment of going, this is not very much fun today. I'm breathing through this. And so this has given me an opportunity to face adversity every single day in a small way. I
Right.
didn't know that when I started.
Mhm.
I just knew there were benefits, like, they talk about reduced inflammation. Yes,
Mhm.
I've experienced that. I have, my fingers feel terrific and all
Oh,
my body parts. I
great.
don't have, the aches and pains and stuff that I, might have attributed to maybe arthritis or eating the wrong kinds of foods or all those things, right? None of us ever do that at all. I can attest to the circulation, the boosting of circulation, because when you put your body into that cold water, you know what happens? Your body wants to protect your vital organs, so it sends all the blood to your core, leaving your extremities. It takes about 20 seconds. And for that first 20 seconds, your body, and I've gotten better at this, but at first, when I first did this, I thought I was going to, I was almost in tears
Yeah.
doing it the first time because it was so shocking. And I really hadn't done anything this hard like this in this way. And so after 20 seconds, my original coach was Robin. Do you know Robin
Robin
Schiller?
Schiller. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And she said to me, "You're not going to die."
Yes. Oh, I kind of love how she froze there. I'm sorry you're frozen, but I'm really excited that, and actually think
Into
it's,
the tub for my very. Oh,
I'm
did it?
sorry. It's okay. I think it's
No,
my internet, but you
no,
froze with the I'm gonna die and then a
I'm
big
gonna die.
grin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what a place to
So
what a place to
I apologize
no,
for my internet.
no,
Yeah.
no. So, she says you're not going to die. She's at the end of the plunge tub, and she guided me on how to get in one fell swoop. And if you hesitate, that's you're letting your ego mind take over, and
Mhm.
then it's all over at that point because you know how good the ego is at telling us, things. So I got in, and this rush of wanting to cry came over me. And she's looking me straight in my eyes with her most compassionate look, saying, "You're okay. You're not going to die. It's going to be okay. You're doing great. Keep going." And and she says, "This is going to be like this for about 20 seconds. You only got 10 seconds left." And she talked me through it. And after that 20 seconds, the blood, that shock where your heart rate goes up, then it comes back down.
Mhm.
And the blood is now circulating in the central area, and you
Mhm.
feel warm,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's good.
Mhm.
And so then, it was just a matter of another minute and a half or a little bit over that to, she set a goal of 2 minutes. So I did that 2 minutes. So now it is still like that. I get in, there's an initial shock, but I've gotten very good at developing resilience in that space and that time. Because how many days do we wake up and our mood or what
Mhm.
we want to do or something we want to do, we don't
Yes.
want to do, we
Yeah.
just want to curl back in bed or eat chocolate. I'm talking to you.
Or both,
Yeah,
maybe at the same
exactly.
time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. That'd be
Yeah.
good.
Why not?
But I committed to the process, and I had these people who would message me after about day 30. And you know what they said? The video cut off after 3 minutes. You made it a reel. It wasn't a post. It didn't give me the whole thing. I'm
Oh
like,
no.
crap. So I'd have to go back. I'm like, oh, you're watching the whole thing? Because I purposely did
Right?
not even
Like,
look at.
what? Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just sitting in a tub. This is really, I mean, so it just cracked me up, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay, I'll go back and fix that. And so and I wasn't, and Bob, my husband, his name is Bob, he would say, "How many views do you have?" And I'd say, I don't know, I'm not looking. And so he would go back and look at that. Well, one day I went back and looked, and he's gotten in and done it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And you know what I noticed? Other than a couple of videos, his videos when he would get in would be like, people would love those, because
Oh,
he's so dramatic about it because he
yes,
just
he
doesn't do
is.
it.
Yes.
If you met him, He's very,
Yes.
yeah. He
Yeah.
had an outside sales job for 30 plus years and selling air and oxygen and nitrogen. So I think he's making up for lost time of
I
just,
think
yeah.
so.
And
It's
so
great.
he's very animated. In fact, there was one video that he decided I did it, and he goes, "I'm going to do it today." Okay. Did you want to go put on your swim trunks? He's like, "Nope, just going to take it off and do it in my
Yes,
underwear."
this is why people are watching. This is not a mystery, Kim.
And so I'm trying to zoom in on just, this part, but he's a moving object, right? So as I'm trying to anticipate what he's going to do. And as he's getting out of the tub after however amount of time he got, I'm trying to zoom in, to just where he's going. And I realize that I'm zoomed out and
Yeah.
he's wearing his boxers and the little pocket has opened up slightly. Now you can't see anything, but I'm like, oh, good God. Oh no. And so I'm like zooming in as quickly as I can, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying, act like nothing's going on, no problem, just zooming in, right? And so I
Uh-huh.
get in there and he's out of the tub now. And I kid you not, you have to go watch the video. It's just hysterical because I wasn't going to post it at first. And my neighbors, they said, "Oh, it's okay. You don't think it'll get flagged?" Because I said a
No,
bad
probably
word
not.
on that one.
Yeah.
I know. I said, shit,
Yeah.
anyway, so all of a sudden he looks down as he's talking and he notices that it's open.
Hilarious.
He goes, and he says something like, "Oh, pee pee."
Yeah,
It
he
just,
has a little commentary going on.
oh my gosh. And realize that. Yeah, work with me here. Oh my gosh.
Well,
So
okay. I'm sorry.
anyway,
Speaking of joy, I mean, just the conversation, the laughter, we know that that brings, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, we're talking about tools, but we're also talking
right.
about, hello, this is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, you think?
Yep, I do. I
Well,
do.
and this cold plunging thing, which is, again, I don't, when I started doing it, I thought I didn't even have a goal. I wasn't even like I was going to do it one day a week or a
Yeah.
month or whatever. And so at some point somebody says, how long are you going to do this? Oh, uh, well, that's a good question. Maybe I could think about that. And so I said, well, I know I was at least going to do it for 30 days. Now I'm past that. Uh, 90 and 100 sounds good, but maybe there was this one guy that somebody told me along the way that he'd been doing it for over 700 days straight in a row. And he'd get in the tub. He only videotaped just hi, good morning. And it was like
Uh-huh.
2 minutes. I do the whole thing.
Right.
Anyway, but I said, "Oh, really? Okay. Maybe I'll just do it for a year. I'll try it and do it for 1 year because I think the growth at which I've seen my body and the changes that have happened are surprising.
Hmm.
I didn't know
Hmm.
um, the. Did you know we have white and brown fat? Did
Yes.
you know that? I didn't know this.
Yeah. I learned it though from one of those. Oh, you guys all froze. This is unfortunate.
In there. The brown fat is the fat
Yeah.
that we burn to burn calories in the moment or
Yeah.
deal with those things. So it has been wonderful to watch how this process and modeling it and truly starting it just for wanting to learn a lot of the social media tools as well along the way
Mhm.
has
Amazing.
created that opening.
Oh, there's so much to unpack, and we're not even done through all the tools, but I do want to unpack some of this right now because there's a couple things about the cold plunge itself, which I find fascinating because you went in not really, I mean, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna just explore, I'm gonna experiment. This is an experiment we're all doing together. Do you have a particular kind of tub? What are you using for your cold plunge? I mean, some people don't have a particular thing that they're using, but I'm curious if you do.
Well, sure. I mean, literally, I've learned that you could just get essentially, even an old bathtub or,
Mhm,
a horse trough from the
mhm,
farm store and
mhm,
fill it with the garden hose because garden hose water is
mhm.
right about 55 degrees. It doesn't have to be
No,
it doesn't have to be 30 or 40. So you
right.
get benefits at that garden hose temperature.
Mhm.
But I did end up buying a tub that, um, I thought I really have learned over time that having experiences has given me uh chances to explore things. So I wanted a tub that I could explore. So I got one that would allow me to regulate the temperatures.
Okay, got
And
it.
if, and so it is a professional
Mm.
native face, so it must be frozen.
That's okay. Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry
yeah,
for that. I don't know why it's doing that. It never does, but it is today.
yes, well, that's fine. But
Okay.
it is a professional tub, but we did find one that was with a newer company, so the pricing was much less than what they can get out. They can get very expensive, but
Okay.
ours was just over $2,000, which is
Mhm,
really inexpensive. But
mhm.
again, you could do it for under $100, just filled in with the garden hose water.
Right.
Oh,
You
But
know,
I but I wanted to explore those temperatures, so I knew I
right.
needed, something that would help support that.
Makes sense. Kim, it's funny because listening to you, I'm very resistant to the idea of I mean, I've been in a lot of cold water, but so it's not like I haven't done it before, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. But listening to you, you actually, and I think part of the YouTube, you actually make it sound fun. And so being able to listen more to your joy in doing this. And I'm not sure if I'm actually recording right now because of my internet instability, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it's
Okay,
happening.
you're back. You're back
Okay.
now. You're back now.
I am back now. So anyway, you're very inspiring is what I'm saying, that your willingness to explore and your joy in that exploration inspires me. Now, I'm not going to go out and buy a tub right now, but it
No.
definitely, definitely, I feel that change in me. Yeah, I think it is. I feel that change in me happening, even as you speak about it, and I think that's one of the amazing pieces about you. And I know you were here to support and mentor and guide others to find their own joy, but your
Absolutely.
joy, and so can I out your astrology a little bit?
Absolutely. Go
Okay.
for it.
So
I
Kim
love
has a
that.
particular blend of astrology and Leo at the top of her chart with Venus. And um, the joy of living is a birthright of all of us, and it is something that the Leo can inspire in us. When the Leo is happy, when the Leo is not happy, maybe not, but when the Leo is happy, and you really are doing that, like that willingness to be connected to others while you're exploring. I mean, what a brilliant way to do this.
Mm.
Love it. And also, too, I will mention again, you are a mentor, you are a guide, you are a coach, you are, there's many things that you're going to share about what you are creating. But this is you have a way of being that is in your chart, and it's radiant and it is inspiring and it's joyful. So thank you for sharing
Well,
all of that so joyfully, because now I'm like, oh, maybe I should reconsider.
well, in time. And again, nobody's tools are this, they're not all the same for everybody. We
Right.
all, it's called the joy pathway because joy means rosy expectation to the pathway that you have navigated along, and it is yours to explore.
Right.
I model and share different tools and things like that to play with. It's in that exploration that we end up finding what works for us and what feels joyful and what feels the opposite.
Mhm.
Somewhat Martha Beck, you know who she is.
Yeah.
She had lovely. She talks about a scale of -10 to 10. to -10 to +10, with 0 being neutral and 10 being the joy and -10 being the absolute most awful thing in the world.
Mhm.
And getting really good with those intuitive senses, developing them. And you do that so well here with your tarot cards and everything, the way you support, like when I work with you, you share with me to draw upon my intuition of what that then means. You
Mhm.
might give me little hints here and there, but you do leave a lot of room for me to internally look at that myself, to
Yeah.
identify and pay attention to those things because the answers are right there. And usually, if we're paying attention to something that's got us anxious or worried, or we don't know what
Mhm.
our purpose is, it's the opposite of whatever that is that we are focusing on.
Yeah, it is. And I was thinking this morning about all the different tools that you have, that you are bringing to the work that you're offering. And the stillness, the settling in, the listening, whether, through all the various modalities, many people have those modalities here on this call today.
Mhm.
But I was noticing that sometimes it is, well, I would say a lot of times it's really helpful to have someone on the journey with you because
Mm.
there are days when, like, even I'm settling into my heart this morning and deepening in. It took a while, and yes, and actually I was on a call that was coaching me through that, and it still took a while. So,
Mhm.
the idea of doing things um with a group or with one-on-one is something that I know you're committed to in terms of
Yeah,
how
we
you
need,
want to
yeah.
bring this forward.
Yeah, community,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gotta create those connections for the yourself
Hmm.
out in the world, for them to be exploring for you. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
looking over here because my little card today, I pull one of Louise. Can I share this card?
Yeah,
Is
of
that okay?
course.
Louise Hay, if you know who she is, she's since passed, but she was just a delightful, she was known for a lot of positive affirmations, and she published all her own stuff because she figured nobody else would publish it. So,
Right.
girl power for sure.
Yes.
The card that I pulled out today says, I trust my inner wisdom. And on the back side, it says, I go about my daily affairs. I listen to my own guidance. My intuition is always on my side. I trust it to be there at all. So, and they're just such cute cards.
Yeah, those
She's,
are great. That's a great deck of cards. I love that deck. I love
and
that.
of course, I have it on the little joy, thing
Hmm.
right there. But yes,
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Again, I apologize for my internet being unstable, but let's keep going. Everybody can fuse some extra energy into my internet right now. So, Kim, there's so much that you do bring to the work you're offering. Can you tell us a little bit about what's coming up? Because I just want to make sure we get to that before we get to the end.
Sure. Sure. No, that's perfect. Well, I mentioned that there are, well, I'll just do the first one. My 100-day countdown to my 100th plunge
Yeah.
coincides with my very first online clinic that I call Light Your Path to Joy. And I anticipate it being monthly, 3 hours online. Join us from the comfort of your home. I promise no cold plunging, joyful living, to designed to help you reconnect with your inner joy. So we'll do some guided activities. I am heart math certified. So those of you who might know what that is, I pull in some of those beautiful techniques and interactive exercises to gain practical tools to build in that toolbox to reduce your stress, enhance emotional resilience, and cultivate gratitude for greater life here. So that is there. It is half off for this very first event. And so it's this Saturday from noon to 3.
Okay, so Saturday,
Uh,
noon to 3 Pacific
yeah,
time, which I know,
that's correct.
um,
Thank you. Yep,
yeah,
that's important to say for
yeah, it
sure.
is. And so for those of you where it's going to be 8 o'clock at night,
I know.
yeah,
Yes. Unless you're a night owl, right?
yeah, unless you're a night owl. So,
Exactly.
this sounds amazing. So your website, is there a link there that I can put in the follow-up and then I'll put it in
You
the
bet.
too?
In fact, I can send that to you for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it
That'd be
shows that
great.
link in there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I have loved about, our conversations is talking about community, coming back to that again, and that community of people um, learning and to navigate life and the chaos and the disruptions and the challenges and the pivoting, kind of going back to what you shared about your personal life, which by the way, I really appreciate you sharing all those details, but the pivots that we are needing to make pretty constantly of late. If we look back over the last 5 years, um, it does seem like there's a continuing need to have that flexibility and to have the capacity to do that. So, as you do this and as you offer these, one of the things that you had mentioned is a community of people that is there for to learn, but also and to explore, but also to support each other. So, do you want to say more about your vision of the community?
Well, sure. Yeah, thank you. No, there'll be some opportunities I mentioned to you about whether I'll open them up in the next month or so for some 1 day and 2.5 day events here on the property that's just very cute. It's on Hillside Drive and it's just on the side of a hill overlooking all the valley. It's beautiful. So
Stunning.
those will be some opportunities in small settings to
Hmm.
be able to get together. But we are also expanding, and I'm hoping, Denise, you will be we're expanding to having a podcast
Oh,
and
nice.
a YouTube presence with that will be a regular space
Yeah.
that will create that community and have you, of course, out there to share your unique vantage point that you have for life in its own realm. So because again, we all, and I believe it's the best ways we can support each other is through storytelling. Those
Mhm.
stories are the things that we can really hear
Yeah.
and find a space to um, when maybe you found this when you taught school, if you could relate it to something in a story, they would remember it.
Exactly.
It,
That's
it,
exactly right.
because when you participate in something, 20% is the norm of what you remember from reading or participating in a class.
Right.
But when you attach it to a story, it taps into the emotions,
Mhm.
which connect into the body
Yeah.
and get sticky. So,
Yeah. So yes, and this, I want to just, there's a lot of you can look at Kim's about page, but there's a lot of she has a lot of education in how we learn and how we can retain our learning. Both you and I worked with young people who had been told that they were not going to succeed. And I also worked with young people who were told they were going to succeed so much that they were freaking out because of the pressure. So, the spectrum of young people, um, and bringing in whatever we can to retain uh, the learning. Like you're saying, like how do we retain the learning? How do we continue to deepen into what is going to bring us to our next level? I love that about
yeah.
you. I have to say, when I met,
Can I
yeah,
share? Oh, go ahead. Go
go,
ahead.
no,
No,
oh,
go
well,
ahead.
okay, no, you speak and then I'll share this other story. You go.
You'll remember?
I will.
Okay, good, because I forget.
No,
So
I won't.
good. But this, um, years ago when I first started with the pony business, probably 2013,
Mhm.
to get the business known, I did a Groupon. Okay. And and boy, did the phone ring. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So now I've got everybody coming in for a discounted experience for me to hone in and develop how I want to offer. And what came out of that was this glorious pony ride experience that I created.
Yes.
So and I shouldn't even say I created. I just listened to them what was working, and I honed in, with those tools to match it. So, but at any rate, one day there was this lady who showed up late with 3 children and a baby in tow, and she had signed up for 3 children. So it's just me, and I am going to work with these 3 children with a pony and navigate. Bob supports, but I'm doing the working the one-on-one with the kiddos. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of excitement, but I could sense straight away as I watched the 3 little girls get out of the car and stand there very nervous, as their mom was very anxious trying to, because she was already late, she was talking about how she was late and all these things, and how she was trying to get the baby who wasn't participating, but in a stroller to come over to the space.
Yeah.
So one of my first things to do is to help to hone in our energies and to get grounded, just like you did at the beginning, so that we can go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because if we cannot get to that grounded space,
Yeah.
we take that energy right into the ponies, and guess what? They mirror it right back to you and say, "What?
Yeah.
Yeah." And so I have an opportunity right there to help them get grounded in
Yeah.
that space so that we can maximize what is possible. So I finally get everybody over to that space. Mom is still just an absolute wreck. She's just stressed because she's late. And she wants the girls to, she's being very particular about what they should or shouldn't do. And I looked at her and I said, "Would it be all right if I just took them and started?" And she goes, "Oh, okay, sure." And so I said, "Okay." So I just focused all my attention on those little girls. And I took them in, and they just, I've never had three little sets of eyeballs looking at me so almost neat and so needy. And I'm like, "Whoa, what is this?" And so as I navigated it, and I built their trust within that space, which is what I do when I build these clinics, is to build for lack of a better way, that safe container.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
it.
we get, it's okay to be you, and everything is acceptable. And
Yeah.
so they knew then that they could trust me at some point.
Yeah.
And at that point, when they flipped like that, they knew I could ask them anything and they would do it,
Yeah.
right? And so we had this magical time. They were amazing, right? So we get done at the end, and mom looks at the three girls and she says, "Why don't you behave like that for me?"
Jeez. Oops.
And the mom wanted to have them come right to her. She wanted to scold them for then not being
Mhm.
that way with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the kids looked, those three little girls looked at me. They were probably 3, 5, and 7 or 8 years old. They
Mhm.
were little.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, and I knew at that moment intuitively that they are emotionally and probably physically abused. I
Mhm.
knew it.
Mhm.
And I couldn't do anything. I didn't have any proof. I just knew
Yeah.
from the way all those interactions happened. And I know you probably experienced this too,
Yes. Yeah.
things. And we can even sense this in adults, of course.
Yeah.
But in that sense, I thought everybody could that way too early on. And
Yeah.
so it's been a wonderful way. So I've been that, big. But I remember those girls not wanting to leave. And I looked at them and I sent them, just the positive. I knew that I at least gave them an opening to know that could be different in
Yeah.
life. But I've
Yes.
never forgotten them. And
Yeah.
I think about them all at various times. And
Yes.
so I carry that with me when I work and talk, and in it at the grocery store, or if I'm anywhere, to build that kind of connection with
Mhm.
anyone in
Yes.
a moment.
Yes. That safe container, Kim, you are an avid listener, deep listener, and a wonderful student always. When I was talking about a couple years ago when Saturn went into Pisces, I kept saying, so this is our time. We want to create the safe and sacred containers. And that's when I could feel you. Yeah, I think we met right around that time, and you're like safe and sacred. That's what you'd been doing all those years. And so you understood that that's really whether we're working with a child or an inner child or an inner adult or an outer adult, the safe and sacred container is vital to trust and confidence and growth and evolution and movement and healing. And so
Mhm.
all of those things happen when you've got the right container. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today was because you are beginning to create some very powerful containers that I think are going to be extraordinarily important as we move forward during the times that we're in and beyond. I mean, I think, I'm not sure. I keep thinking maybe it will be different soon, but I think that regardless, and again, this is the thing, and this is what I
New
really,
normal. Yeah.
yeah, regardless, living with joy, living our lives and finding joy and gratitude are, I mean, we can do that no matter what. So,
Absolutely.
and that's what you're about.
Yeah.
That's what you're about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the story,
Scattering it all over the place.
yeah, the story I was going to tell was just meeting you for the first time, you and Bob for the first time, and what I loved was how resonant the energy was from the moment we sat down on Zoom together. And that there was this connection, that it was profound to be able to see and feel and sense um, who you were, what you were about, but also the expansion of where you wanted to go. And so I've had the privilege of really witnessing. I mean, it seems like this, but it probably has been a couple of years. Um, the amazing offerings that you have created, are creating. I'm just thrilled. And just briefly to speak to this, I talk to a lot of people who want to lift off of what was, but it's kind of scary to leave what you know.
Yeah.
Oregon Dream Ponies is what you knew for those 12 years. And to lift away from that, to be able to say, all right, this is complete now, and we're jumping in over here. Do you have any words of advice or thoughts or suggestions for people who are right at that point?
Well, that is a great thing. I can share what I do
Yeah,
that has
yeah,
been really helpful
yeah.
is that I look at those things in my heart, in my body,
Hmm.
and I really look to the feelings
Hmm.
of what something is or isn't.
Hmm.
And it's like the river. If we're focusing on the rocks that we might hit as we're going down,
Hmm.
then that's probably what you might gonna hit. In horse riding, they say, look where you want to go. If you're
Hmm.
looking at the ground, that is not where you want to go.
Right.
You want to be looking at where you want to go, even if it's the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing.
Hmm.
So when you're trying to find either your purpose or get out of some, I'm tired of being anxious or worried, or, this relationship is not, it is an absolute daily practice of going, okay, what's in my body? Thinking about something that I can, if I try this,
Hmm.
how does that feel in my
Yeah,
body? It
yeah,
either feels on the joy side
yeah,
or it doesn't.
yeah.
Then continuing to go those directions and pay attention to those small little pieces, because it's usually all the little things that
Yes.
over time
Right. Oh
create
my
those
gosh.
pivots.
It is that for sure. And I really, one of the other things I want to share is that, and I'm bringing this up here. I'm going to put this in the chat. When you and Bob started the videos, right? If you want to see people who are vulnerable, just like all of us, trying to navigate life, the YouTube videos that you've already created
Oh,
really profound. So I just put that in the chat so people can access the YouTube channel. And I think that is the right one. Yeah, the Joy Pathway. And so you can find all kinds of more videos there, but I think that's the very first video. And so,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Bob's
yeah.
very good at being he's very funny, so he can.
Yes. Well, you both, that's the thing. Like he is very funny, and again, we develop humor for various reasons in our lives, right?
That's true. That is very
Humor
true.
is a way of relating. It's also a way of surviving sometimes, right? And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, so humor can be a great offering to give to all of us. And then Kim, I think, he's just, you really are committed to gratitude and joy. It's just, you can't get around it. This is Kim. She is actually walking her talk. And that is something that I find Very important for all of
Can
us.
can I share one more quick story? I'll
Yeah,
make it
absolutely.
quick. Following those breadcrumbs, I've been in business a long time,
Yeah.
and so I know the ways to build a business, to,
Mhm.
do all these marketing things, right?
Yeah.
And there's somebody out there I saw who they were started at cold plunging. I saw this in early on. They said, I'm going to start 30 seconds every day. I'm going to add a second till I have over 100,000 likes or followers or something like that. I'm like, okay, great, not doing that. That is not where I'm at. I want everything. I mean, not, and it worked. He had all these followers
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, okay, what I don't, no, I want things to come to be in a flow state, not in a force state. To me, that
Yes.
is going to create a reaction
Yes.
of that space. So, um, now I forgot what I was going to tell, but it's gone. Oh boy. But at any rate, all of the things that I'm doing within this business are meant to be done in that space, in
Hmm.
that flow state, in that open space. So I don't have the traditional, I'm not going to do the traditional 10 ways to solve your life,
Hmm.
kind of
No,
videos.
no, you're not. And
It,
going back to that pivot, being in a flow state is probably that's the thing that really is what you do every day to
yes, it
stay
is.
going
That's
forward.
And in the moment when I start to, when I'm very ego and I'm thinking,
Mhm.
oh no, maybe I should say it this way. No,
Mhm.
let that go.
Yeah,
That is not the point of
yeah,
this.
yeah,
This is to let go
yeah,
and breathe and
yeah.
to go back into that, not to cling to
Yes,
things.
yes, absolutely. And I think we each have our own sort of motivational why or motivational inspiration or motivational kind of place where we go. Um, Many people, myself included, and you included as well, there's a level at which there's a there's a strong uh, dedication to wanting to leave the world a better place, or at least, at the very least, add to what is better for where we are at this time. And I think that that desire to be um, of service, again, is really key, at least for a lot of people that have some Chiron aspects with Pluto and Virgo, or not Pluto, but yes, Chiron and Pisces with Pluto and Uranus and Virgo, which Kim has a few of those. There's an element of service, connection, healing, transformation on big scales and small scales. But how do we do that with joy is your beautiful niche. How do we cultivate more joy? And I love that, where we've gotten to today is like starting with the body. It's like being grounded and being centered is the place to start. Whether it's cold water or meditation or a walk or being outside, mucking a stall. Do you still smile when you muck stalls?
I do. I do. We take care of those horses ourselves. We don't have help. So
Mhm.
every day we are up and out for about an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work taking care of. We have 10 horses, 10 full-size horses, excuse me, five full-size horses, five miniature horses, 24 chickens, three cats, and four dogs. And so we take care of those all, and that's by design.
Yes.
It's a 7 day a week thing.
Yeah.
And I look up and every day and I look around and I'm like, this is wonderful. This
Yeah.
is
And for
beautiful.
real, like you really do. Yeah.
And then when I look down and I do get the moments where like, oh, I need to get this done so I can go do that. And
Mhm.
then I go, and then I catch myself. I go,
Yeah.
no, this is wonderful right here, right now. Look at that poop. You're going to put that in that bucket and it's going to be clean. Yeah, yay me. And so it is, I have always, I mean, there's a video of me when I'm not barely one with my mom and I'm walking along like this, learning how to walk, right? And I'm smiling and I fall down on my face because I'm learning how to walk.
Yeah.
And then my mom picks me up. I'm still smiling.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing of how it all that's how I have been in my life. And I realized that that is, I guess it just, again, I thought, well, isn't everybody like that? No, they're not. I'm
Yeah.
here to be me and to just be that space
Yes.
and continue to look up and look around and
Yes.
embrace each and every moment because they're not promised.
No, they're not. Sometimes I wish they were, but they're not. So I love that, Kim. And I know it's 11 o'clock, so we're going to come to a close for today. I'll have
Thank
you
you,
back
Jenny.
on. We can talk more joy pathways. But I want to remind everyone, uh, Kim, can you put your website in the chat while I'm
I
doing
can.
this? Thank you
Yes.
so much. About what's coming this coming Saturday, and then future things that will be coming our way. So let's make sure we all get on the newsletter, or at least, do you have something that goes out fairly regularly? Yeah, that's what I thought.
It, it's I'm working on it, but it's
I
not
know.
as
I had a
regular
feeling.
as
Yeah.
it is. I would say it's more on the organic method.
I like that. It's in the flow state. It's in the flow. But yeah, we can all be a part of that. And
I
Kim,
am
thank you.
fill your inboxes. There you go.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for being here with us. Thank you for bringing your beauty and your love and your joy and your authentic Leo expression. Love it.
well, thank you for the opportunity, everyone. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. All right, I'm going to turn off the recording.